This is Pastor Troy right here. Get ready for what we call something incredible. It's called the Best of Season 3. Our executive producer, Donna Korniski's gone in the files. She's dug around, looked at your comments, and she's picked the best of Season 3 to throw back at you. So over the next few weeks, get ready. It's coming up right now. The first of, the second of, and a whole season of nothing but the best of Season 3. Get ready as that episode rolls now, and don't worry. We'll have new Season 4 episodes coming at you very soon. Be praying for us. We'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy. You've been on the dock. Now get ready for Season 3 Best of. This is Pastor Troy. We're getting ready to launch our next episode with you. And before we launch that episode, we got something real new that we couldn't put in the episode, but we want you to see it now. For the first time ever in Season 3, we have an affiliate advertising partner, and that is slnt.com. And before we launch our show, in just a minute or so, we want to introduce you to them. You'll be finding out more about them this season. But right now, before we launch this incredible show, check out this advertisement from our new partners at slnt.com. You want to be a part of this, and then stay tuned for the next On the Dock with Pastor Troy and the gang. Here we go.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases, but with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.
And we're on the dock here, .org. Pastor Troy here every Tuesday and Thursday, all about shows that will take you off the dock, out through the past and into the deep. Conversations ready to send you out. Today, we're here in part 2 of a show. We'll get you into that in a second, but thank you for joining us, whether you join us on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes. We're glad to have you. But we're also on Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and SermonNet. You can go find us on SermonNet. Our archives are at YouTube as well and on SermonNet. That's where we house everything. Love to hear from you on our social media basis: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Go out and get it, and we'd love to hear from you. Hit subscribe, like, and notify, and whatever it tells you to share it, give the thumbs up, get the whatever the different thing. Everything has a different thing. Go do that thing and tell other people about it. Go to Patreon, become one of our partners, download the app. Then you can also look up On the Dock with Pastor Troy, or you can be lazy and go on the dock.org, hit the donate link. It'll link you over there quickly. Go to Patreon and become one of our 4 partners or 3 sponsors. And don't forget to check out our deal with slnt.com, promo code OTD. You can also go directly with the link there in the description code today, www.slnt.com, discount /OTD. Get your Faraday product. You need that to keep people from listening to you. Go to onthedock.org to find all of our platforms and all of our places, and email us at info@onthedock.org .org if you're just confused now and you don't know what to do. Just email us. Hey, and that song you heard was Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, our version of it. Josh, that was done by Dustin Griffith and Ben and Lucas.
That's not
recorded it.
That's awesome.
That's great. And it was so good because Dustin Griffith had never heard the song ever. You know, he grew up in Apostolic Church, so he didn't get to listen to that stuff. They got in trouble. So he listened to it before he played it. He didn't know who did it, and he just did his own rendition. And it was so good that RCA or whoever had that cleared us to use it because they thought it was uniquely enough different that it was fair. So it passed copyright, and that's why we're able to use it. YouTube cleared, yeah. So and someday we're going to take him back in studio and do it again. And just he says I'd like to do it now, knowing more about it. So that's Otis Redding's song. It's one of my favorite songs. We're around the Cottonwood table here, just fantastic table here, and in our studio here. So it's good to have Mother Beth on set with us again. Mother Beth, you doing all right today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
All right. We're on studio, and we got Colt with us back there on the system. Colt has no microphone today, but if you go to Patreon and become a partner sponsor, we will get him a microphone again, and we'd love to have him. We have him and Donna both working that. Donna is our
hashtag bring Colt back.
Yeah, yesterday was hashtag bring Donna back. Today is hashtag bring Colt back. We have them mic'd and stuff on some up. There you go. Where did he go? His voice is gone. Donna's our executive producer, and she will be putting episodes out and be talking to you. She'd love to hear from you on social media, and she links things around. So if you want to say something to Josh and them, put it there. She'll forward it over to them, or go find them on Facebook. Is Crown Brew on Facebook?
Yes.
So you can find them there and go check that out. So Donna always gets that stuff out and gets her episodes out. And if you get questions, reach out to her. We're taking it to the street. Spotlight is a season 3 special series. We're doing 2 special series in season 3. One of those is to take it to the street spotlight. We're spotlighting about 4 or 5 different businesses, organizations in Southern Illinois. Crown Brew Coffee is one of those this year. Also, we're doing the series called Building a Stronger Church. And we had Josh in here this year to do his church, Kingdom Collective, and this is a whole different series we're doing, but we're doing these 2 this year because we want to, not only do we want to build stronger churches, but we also want to help build the kingdom's businesses.
Yeah.
There are people inside the kingdom. A lot of people don't realize when the church first birthed in Acts, Christians started forming. Well, immediately the Christians that formed came out of the Jewish church, and they ostracized them.
Yep.
So they became communities of their own, and they actually had to start doing business inside their own communities of faith.
Absolutely.
So they could survive because people ostracized them. Then they would start doing business with the Romans or whatever culture they were in. And in due season, not only did the church birth, but whole business industries and whole communities of business did. Crown Brew for me is a organization that is a business that works in Marion, Illinois, but they're an example of a Acts type business that would have been there for the Christian community. You don't have to be a Christian to come to Crown Brew, but when you come in there, you're going to experience a world that is led by the heart of Christians.
Yeah.
Taking it to the streets, we're here for the backstory, Josh, the challenges and the next moves. I got Josh Benitone here. He is my oldest son. Crown Brew Coffee took 3 seasons to get him on the show. He is here for our 184th unique broadcast, and he finally made it into the cut, son. You're like 184. No, he was hard to get. So
my coffee's been here long before I have.
His coffee was here on episode 1.
Yeah.
So from our first episodes, matter of fact, our test episode, we had his coffee cups. They've been on the stage many times. He's got Crown Brew Coffee Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday 1 to 5 in Marion, Illinois. Look at that beautiful place. And here it is, the exterior on the north side, back side of the north side of the square of Marion, 107 East Union Street. Go check it out, crownbrewcoffee.com. So go back and watch episode 1, find out all the details. We got into that, the spotlight, the ethos of it. Josh, can you just refine us, just give us a little repeat of that mission, vision, core values? What that ethos one more time?
Yeah. So our mission, really simple. It's to be a gift to our community. How we do that vision is we serve people. And this is how it looks in our values. I'll get into this probably more, but we serve amazing drinks. Mm-hmm. We serve our amazing community, and we serve our amazing team.
That's amazing. That is good stuff. They've got these beautiful coffee drinks. We talked about these in the previous episode, but they also have food. We didn't talk about the food a lot in the last episode, so let's take a few seconds on the food here. You got just different. What's weird is you serve toast. But I have one guy in our church. His name's Daryl. Daryl's a cowboy. He's as cowboy as it gets. He's beans and ham and on the range and let's eat a prairie chicken, But he gets me almost weekly and says, We're going Crown Brew again this week.
I got to get that toast.
He said, I got to get that toast, and I want to get one of those new fancy fangled drinks. He's had enough of that coffee on the range and the old, what do you call it, the level 1 coffee?
It's like the second wave.
Yeah, he said well, that's rough coffee there. Yeah. That's range coffee. So he'll go and he'll get this bougie stuff, and he thinks he's so cool. I mean, he brings people there now, he tells me.
Yeah.
And then I've got other friends that go there. I do most of my meetings there. I took a guy there last week to have a meeting, and he's a chef. His name's Matt. He's an IT guy, but he also has a chef background. And we went and just had lunch. So we ordered about 3 or 4, and we shared them. And this guy used to cook at Tom's, but when Tom's open, and high level chef. And he said, man, this all's good, tasty stuff, fresh food. He said, we just had a blast eating about 4 things.
Yeah.
We ate the salmon. We ate one of these, one of those. We just had everything. And tell me about, how did you go from, okay, let me back up. You've got these beautiful coffee drinks.
Yep.
And then somewhere, I saw pastries come.
Yep.
You started pastries. Let me get over here. This is my picture. I'm sorry, my cookies. See my cookies? What, scones?
Yeah, we've got scones, muffins, Pop-Tarts sometimes.
And you did that kind of first, some bakery
yeah.
to go with your typical coffee fare.
So we started, we didn't even have a cafe when we started.
No.
And then we were like, well, we do coffee, so let's get a cafe. And then we
Because you started out, we'll get to that, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
started
yeah.
mobile. Okay.
We started mobile, so then you make coffee, and then you're like, okay, well, now what do we need for not coffee people? Well, then he made like the lemonades and teas, and then you're like, well, what do we snack on? We do pastries, and you get down with pastries, and people are like, well, what about a meal? So you're going to ask, like, you know, where did the food come from, and why is it so unique?
I've seen some toasts like this, a few other fancy places and bougie places, other places. I've seen a couple things kind of like this.
So what's funny is,
but not like this.
You know, we do coffee really well.
Yeah.
But like if you go to another city, we're as good as any like major city coffee shop.
Yes.
Our food program is actually more impressive than our coffee program. It just doesn't get enough credit because it's called Crown Brew Coffee Co, not Crown Brew Toast Co. But
sub-brand.
Yeah. So I have a friend.
These are my personal pictures. These are not his pictures. This is my food that I've ordered for events. So I just want to say that for the record.
So I have a friend who owns a few businesses, and he has a really simple saying that I just gets me. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that they're maybe really good at coffee, right? And so then they think, well, we need all these other things. So they just start doing all this stuff, but that actually shows the heart. And so for us, as we've like added new things like pastries and then like toasts and bagels, if we're going to weigh time, make syrups from scratch, like intentionally do our coffee, what does food look like when you do the same thing? When you make everything from scratch, when you're intentional, when you craft and curate and build everything. So our toast had to be what the food embodiment of how we do drinks would be. Yeah. So if you have like a signature drink that's going to have a house-made syrup with a unique brew method and you shake it and not stir it and you serve it in a cool glass, you can't just like microwave a Pop-Tart and put it by that.
No, right. No.
So it's
homemade Pop-Tarts.
Right. And so when I talk about,
they're so good.
When I talk about like our values, you know, when we get into that and some of those things, you look at the food and you say, it's just the same principles. The same reason we have a beautiful space. We don't just go in and get the cheapest, quickest stuff. We designed our space.
Yeah, I'm going to pop that space up. Look at this space. Intentional.
Yeah, like I built the bar, and my father-in-law and I, we built the stools, all the welding, we did all the woodwork.
Just incredible, the whole room.
Yeah, we had one of the guys who was on staff with us at the time.
Even the wood on the stairwell was put up by you guys, right?
Barn wood? That came out of a barn. We harvested that out of a barn.
So it's reclaimed wood?
Yeah, some of it came from a reclaimed place.
Let me show this one.
Bill got.
Y'all built that background there, the shelves.
Yep. Yeah, that wood, the big wood piece in the back there came out of that building itself. It was all the lathe with the plaster.
Just a unique. Came out of that one?
Yeah, out of the stairway.
I just have to, I'm going to tell everybody, I don't want you to dwell on this at all, but this building is gorgeous. I'm going to show you the exterior real quick. This building is gorgeous. It's bougie. And if you're from Marion, this used to be like a bordello looking bar hole.
It has never not been like a cat house or
cat. It was the cat house. Yeah. It was horrible for the image of Marion, and you would have never dreamt.
It was so bad when we first looked in it to buy it. We looked at it and we said, no one can redeem this.
I went in.
So we said no. We came back 2 weeks later and we're like,
when Josh was doing this place, I was a part of reconditioning the kitchen.
You saw how nasty it was.
I cleaned the kitchen and helped them put the kitchen together because I have a kitchen background.
I should have seen you pictures from that.
Oh my gosh.
I have some somewhere.
The kitchen was so filthy and stuff was so decrepit. and so rough. People had to have drank a lot of alcohol to be able to eat food there and survive.
How you do anything?
They
is how you
hadn't
do
been
everything.
closed that long, right?
No, they walked out. Stuff was still in the stuff.
It was.
Well, it's just, if the place, and it's not just the business that was there before, because that's that it's whole history in the 130 years of being there was always literally a cat
It
house
looks
or bar,
nothing
and so
like
it was
this. It
maintained
looks
like that.
nothing
Right.
like it.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's like taking somebody. Let me just compare this. I'm a pastor professionally, and we see people. We see people that are living rough lifestyles, and then God transformed them. This was a rough place. I took a brother of mine that's like a brother in the Lord to me now. I took him there about a year and a half ago. I met him there because he challenged something I said on our TV, our COFTV.com, my church show. He made a comment to our online greeter that was kind of skeptical, hard knocks. And she wrote me and showed me what he said. And I said, well, I'll meet with him. I'll take him on. I'll meet with him if he wants to. And he never had a pastor willing to meet with him.
Yeah.
So I decided to meet with him at Crown Brew Coffee. He doesn't like coffee. He likes teas. And this is a manly dude. He likes lavender teas. So he fell in love with Josh's place, just some lavender teas. He goes there now all the time to get it. And so we met there. And before I got there to meet with him the first time, I went in and told his staff that I'm meeting with somebody I've not met before. I don't know what's going to happen, but he's an atheist. Would you guys mind praying while I'm meeting with him? They were all back there having prayer service for me.
Oh, yeah.
Quietly while I met with him. And they were making sure we didn't get disturbed. And they brought I needed a couple things for illustrations. I ended up leading this guy to Christ, and he is in our church now. He's deeply involved. And I want you to know he was rough. He's right now working on getting a tattoo removed of the devil on his shoulder.
Wow.
He's trying to get that covered up and removed right now. He was really an atheist. And we went in that place, and that place was a bordello. That was a rough place, and he was rough. And it shows you what can come out of roughness if you let God get a hold of it.
Yeah.
And I saw God transform him, and he's here in church today. His whole family is in church today. And I've seen what's come out of this place. And it's a place that has transformed lives. I know it's a physical place, but there's an ethos we talked about behind it that's causing a place that was maybe used for a lot of rough things.
A lot of rough things.
I don't remember what happened last night type things. And now it's a place where God is doing a lot of things and meeting a lot of people.
Yeah.
So give us the backstory. How did you've got this food, you've got the stuff going on, but before you had this, I guess, let me say, bougie coffee place. It looks great. Gosh. And before this, you were someplace else. And before that, it was just kind of how did you get here?
That's a great question. I'm not a business guy. It's a path that the Lord took me on. And so the long and short of it was, at the time I was traveling a lot doing mission stuff. I was actually in Japan when this idea got birthed. At the time, what God was really challenging with me is churches and missionaries and nonprofits really, really great at spending money.
Right.
Businesses really, really great at making money.
Right.
Anytime missionaries, churches, nonprofits need money, what do? They call the business guy that they know, and they say, hey, you're good at making money. Will you write us a check?
Right.
And I looked at both of them, and I was mainly in like church, nonprofit, missions world. I'm like, we always need money from business guys. Business guys' problem is they make so much money, it ends up being almost a trap for them sometimes.
Right.
They need some things to like invest that and put that into. Right. And so God started something way back in my heart in 2013, 10 years ago, that was like, what does it look like when you can begin to get kingdom-minded businesses, that people who are gifted and anointed to create business, to create brands and make money, actually have a place to invest that money with the people who are really good at spending and investing into kingdom stuff. So it got this whole crazy brain thing going for me where it's like, I grew up and I understand ministry world. I know nothing about business world. So I just became fascinated during that time with studying guys who are Christian guys who started their own businesses and trying to understand, you've got the gift to create money. I understand how to spend those things and see like lives transformed by it. But I always feel like in ministry, you were at the mercy of the business guy, hoping that he would give to your thing. So I wanted to go on this journey of understanding, how do I generate, resources and then have some authority over where that's going.
You're trying to look at a sustainable model.
It's a sustainable missions model, and it's marrying things, because not everyone's going to be like, I'm going to do this just to, but it's partnering it up. How do you get guys who are anointed at spending and anointed at making? And you get them doing the same
And you
thing.
begin to appreciate both sides of it, both the vision to do stuff, but what it takes to make that accomplished.
So all the principles I learned in business and the hard lessons and the ways you have to steward money and people and staff began to flow into how I saw missions and all this stuff. It helped me identify a lot of issues in ministry and church and nonprofits. But then there's a lot of principles about nonprofits and ministry and church that you see missing from the business world, which is like how to actually see people as more than dollars.
Yes.
How to see them as more than customers and numbers. And so for me, it was this journey of like bringing the heart of ministry and the mission of ministry into the practical skill sets of business and watching them marry and serve each other.
Yeah. And the question is, a lot of times Christians will start businesses, but they're more like hobbies.
They're like hobbies
that kind of fund your attic.
My friend says, it's not the cross on the shoe, but the quality of the shoe that makes it kingdom.
That's right.
See, there's a lot of people say, feel bad for us. We put a Jesus fish on here, so you should support us because we're Christian. Right. The Jesus fish doesn't make you Christian. It's the excellence, which I'll talk about with our values, right?
Right, exactly.
But at the time I was doing a lot of missions work, I was in Japan. We actually were thinking like, what does it look like to create a cafe there? I didn't know anything about coffee, but we're like, what does it look like to create a coffee shop here? Because in Japan, they don't own a lot of their own buildings and churches. And so they would pop up and do church service in a conference room, a hotel, something, but they'd have nowhere to meet through the week to do like midweeks, house groups, discipleship. So originally I'm like, man, if we could start a cafe here and then let the churches have free reign of this.
Kind of a dual purpose spot. That they have a place that is like a Monday through Saturday place, but they could actually do ministry in real life. This is what you see in Europe, you see in Central America. You'll see sometimes a business and then their church will be a meeting space above or a side room.
Yeah, because
or it'll be in the business.
I remember the shoe store in Honduras.
Well, because in America, we take for granted that we have these multi-million-dollar buildings that are being used for ministry. That's not the reality.
And they're
of most
used
countries.
4 hours a week and they sit empty the rest of the week.
So when I was in Japan, I had this heart and this idea of what does it look like to create a space that's being used 6-7 days a week, that kingdom people have the ability to do kingdom things there if they don't have buildings. And so when we were there, we were pitching to some investors and stuff. And one of the guys said, what the problem is with you guys is you don't do this at home. I invested $10 million to bring Krispy Kreme here. Because they'd already proven that they were a viable business model. He's like, what have you proven? You're trying to tell us that you belong here. You should be invited here. So we got on the train afterwards and we're all kind of like, all right, we get it. One of the girls says, well, at the time that our nonprofit symbol was a crown. She goes, well, I guess we'll also have to go back and start Crown Coffee and that'll show them. And
so that's where the crown came from.
So this is what's interesting is here's where the crown came from in that organization. This is why the Lord spoke to it when I came back Crown Brew Coffee Company. For me, the crown is indicative of what happens in Revelation. It says at the end, you're going to look Jesus in the face and he's going to give you an account. What you did poorly, you'll be accountable for that. But then it says he's going to put a crown on your head for everything that you've done for the kingdom. And then after he goes through that with each person, what's it say? Everyone takes the crowns on their heads off and they lay it at his feet and they say, this was all for you. Yeah. And so when we started, it was the first business I started. I was like, I need a crown on it. So if it's successful, if it's huge, if it's big, I have to look at it at all times and say, this was not my plans. One day you're going to put a crown on my head. If this is part of it, I need to be able to lay it down at your feet for you. And if it's a wild flop, I can say, well, this is part of my journey of saying yes to you, but either way, this is for you and not for me.
And that's why it's not about the coffee. It's about the experience.
That's exactly it. Because for us, it's not about coming and having a great coffee. It's about having an experience that's worthy of when Jesus looks at me as an owner, that he can say, well done for what I've entrusted with you.
You made the best cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Because it's for the
unto
King of
what?
Kings. Unto the Lord.
Unto people experiencing the Lord.
In his fullness and to the glory of God. I love that idea because it really, most places, they want to sell the coffee.
Yeah.
What you want to have is the people that have the experience.
It's the experience.
And the coffee becomes the vehicle.
So that's exactly right. So when Sarah and I were poor and dating in college, we were serving at a church. And we would serve at their morning and night service. But we were too poor to drive back to our college campuses 30, 40 minutes away and then come back for service. We had just enough gas to get there in the morning, camp out all day and get back, right? And so we would pay what I would call a booth rent at McDonald's, which is a $1 McDouble and a $1 sweet tea, and we'd share the sweet tea and we have two burgers, $3.27 for us to pay booth rent to sit in the pew and be in love for 4 or 5 hours, right? And what we were actually paying is we were paying for the right to be together for that time. And so I look at what we do with our coffee shop and I say, we're actually giving you an excuse, this coffee, to pay booth rent, to come and sit in the presence of God, a place that's been cultivated with excellence, with stewardship, where people are praying there, where we have Bible studies, all this. Why? So you can come and actually sit in something that speaks to you. And so we've seen staff who aren't believers led to Jesus. We've seen customers do that.
Yes.
We've seen inner healing. So much happens there. We don't exist for that. We actually just exist to serve our community, but we're doing it in a kingdom way that other believers come in and they say, wow, this feels like a place where there's some authority and intentionality.
Right.
So I can actually move in obedience here.
Because the coffee is not the purpose, it's the experience. And that's what I love about Crown Brew as a pastor is I can hold a meeting there. I can take somebody to get there. I don't have to worry about the influence of somebody drunk or alcohol at the bar or that, but I can be in an atmosphere where there's good music in the background. Yeah. There's a good ambience. It's not overtly Christian at all by any means.
We're not a Christian coffee shop.
Right.
We're a kingdom-based business.
And that's the difference.
There's a huge difference because there's a lot of people calling themselves Christian X, Y, and Z, and they're not.
They're not.
Right.
You know?
But it's a safe space, though, to come and experience.
It's just rooted in kingdom principles.
Yeah. And I can come there and meet with somebody, and you can really have, I have a lot of meetings there. And I can take people there. I meet with county officials there recently with the ESDA person from Williamson County. I've met with other folks. I had a meeting upstairs at the ESDA building a few weeks ago with the health county person. Yeah. And then I said, I would have bought your Crown Brew. And she said, well, I didn't know we could have gone to Crown. She got mad at Brian Burgess because we could have gone to Crown Brew instead. He said, well, I didn't know you wanted to do that. So I always want Crown Brew. Yeah. So people find out that they could have gone there. So when people come to a meeting with me, I'll take them there because it adds value to our day.
That's it.
Because we'll go there and then sit and talk more. You've had the meeting, but then you have more than a meeting, you can have an experience.
Yeah.
So that's why I know this on the dock is about, faith decisions that propel you out. But I have to say this. I know we use a water images on the dock. I'll throw the on the dock graphic up here. It's a water image, but if Crown Brew Coffee would be, if we were using an airplane image, you guys would be like a KC-135 fuel tanker. I'm out there doing my work for the day, and I can pull in there, and you guys can refuel my day, or I can meet with somebody and make sense. I can connect with somebody, and then get on about what my mission is for the day.
So this is another way you serve the community. You don't just bring them a cup of coffee. You create an environment for them to actually do what they're called to do.
It's very oasis. Yeah. It's an oasis. I think it's a very good point.
So that's how I got it. And like I said, we started as a pop-up. I thought I was just going to create a subscription service online that would help bring some resources for missions.
And you did that for a while. You did boxes.
But what it turned into is I realized it's what the guy in Japan said. If you're not doing it at home, how can you do it here? And what I realized is as a believer, it's all about taking territory for the kingdom. Yeah. It's about expanding kingdom. Yeah. And so Jesus was about taking ground for the kingdom. And so for those of us who are called into business, if the Lord sees fit to give you stewardship and stewardship really to shepherd over buildings that you own, locations and venues, he's doing it to advance his kingdom.
Absolutely.
And so I look at it now at this point where it's like, of course we have it, because how can I pastor the church I pastor and talk about being in your work and professional place and sharing Jesus if I don't have that? So I have an environment that is no one can ever look at me and say, well, you don't do this in real life. You just get paid to be at your church and do those things.
So if you were comparing yourself to some biblical, a lot of people realize Paul was the most famous apostle to the Gentiles, but he also made tents.
That's where he led a lot of people to Jesus.
He did more work in the morning down when they were dying in the tents and doing the sewing than he ever did in a synagogue. Yeah, he made more. Actually, in the synagogues, he probably made more enemies and got more lashes as a result. Yep. It's down by the creek where he did the baptisms. That's where he saw lives change. It isn't his workplace.
So pastors are like, how do I get people in the doors of my church? I'm like, how do you ask for doors people will come through? You go and create businesses that non-believers and we're not getting in trying to witness people. It's not that. It's that
nobody's asking you about Jesus when you walk in. Yeah. It's just a safe place to experience Christ.
Yeah.
The good. And if you're not a Christian, it's not going to bother you a bit. It's not overt at all. It's not a Christian coffee shop where you got the local Christian music going, blaring, and a bunch of Jesus books for sale. Nothing wrong with Jesus books.
What makes it kingdom based is it's our intentionality in everything we do, and it's how we're choosing to serve people.
But it's a safe, it's a comfortable place. It's a safe place. It's a disarming place, which we need so much. I talked to Josh just months ago, and I was just telling him how important his place is to our community, how important it is for me as a pastor. I go in there, and there's oftentimes I'll see 3 or 4 other of my colleagues in there, and we just don't have a lot of places we can go and just be. And I'll go there and be by myself or meet with somebody. I know it's safe, and we need Crown Brew in Marion.
Yeah,
we have lots of good businesses. We're blessed with some new businesses, and we have a mayor that's doing creative things, and I'm appreciative of that. But to have places that are built with the intentionality of us just being able to rest before the Lord, I love that, and it's a great place. Josh, tell us a little bit about the timeline. You know, you guys, you started off as a smaller, doing individual, kind of almost like. Not boutique. What's that? We do like pop-ups.
Yeah.
Pop-ups. Hey, start pop-ups. Everything was portable, you know.
Yeah.
And then you went to Carterville. Then you moved to Marion. And then what's crazy is you got to Marion, and then we have COVID. You know, before COVID, after COVID, and we have today. Those are for a pastor. Pre-COVID and post-COVID, there's a whole different world. I did season 1. We did shows with about 6 different pastors on what it was like to pastor before, during, and after COVID.
Right.
Dynamic shows. Go watch them in season 1. What was it like to run a business before, during, and after COVID? What does it feel? Your migration. Tell us the migration.
I still think about how great it was in 2018.
Yeah. How great it was.
I was thinking about it this week. I'm like, man, if I just had the margins I had in 2018 and 2019,
you were just like, we're on our way.
Oh man, no, it's I've had the business now for 7 years. I think we just finished our 7th year.
That's crazy.
It's pretty crazy. And you know, we went from pop-up for the first 6 months to a cafe kind of fell into our hands, and then it fell out of our hands as quickly as it fell into our hands. And we'd outgrown it anyway, and we were in Carterville for a while, but just kind of learning. Like, we didn't really know what we were doing. And then we ended up, you know, moving into Marion because we really felt like this is where God's doing things in our community. And I think he wanted to see.
Marion's booming.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's booming.
And, you know, then we were in the middle of renovating our whole cafe when COVID hit. So we were already shut down.
In the middle of the renovation.
Dead in the middle.
Boom.
So then we're now shut down even more. And then we had our grand opening day here in 2020 in October, just when we all stopped being shell shocked enough to come out and do things. And then we had a COVID outbreak on our staff, shut down the weekend of our grand opening.
Right. I remember that.
Then by the time a week later we get through our quarantines and stuff, the country had shut down again. Yeah. So we literally just grand opened. We only made it halfway through our grand opening before 4 of us had COVID.
And we're back down
We
again.
shut down, and then the whole thing shut down again. We were shut down for 6 months, and then we did food for a while, and we had to shut it down too because we did food, and we were loving it like we talked about at the beginning.
Beautiful food.
And then all of a sudden, we were getting garbage, fake
because the whole
produce
world couldn't produce. They couldn't produce.
It was crazy.
Cups couldn't be produced. You couldn't be shipped.
Oh my gosh. I was getting double wall cups, single wall, one's leaking. I think about a year ago, I was like, oh, you got a leaky cup? Yeah,
Yep,
the whole
yep.
shipment leaks. You
the
know,
whole ship.
the bottoms would just fall off.
out.
And you
Yeah.
could, and
You had the warehouse, you had to get rid of it.
and when you have a
Yeah.
formula, Josh's business is very formula based. So
When you're constantly changing your pricing and quality of materials
Your cup
on
size.
a weekly basis,
because you call your supplier and they go like, those aren't available anymore.
but the lid that you have doesn't fit the one that you just got. So you have 1,000 lids of this one and then this cup. Yeah.
And they tell you just to be grateful for what you got.
yeah,
Quit
and they're
asking.
like, well, you're lucky because some places don't have it.
having lists. But before 2018, you could get exactly what you want. There was consistency. Food product was good.
Yep.
Now people weren't producing avocados.
Everything
you were
we buy
getting,
now costs like 2 to 3 times what it did. It's unreal. So it's hard. And this is this is where it gets to be the cost of discipleship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because like I said, I'm not a business guy. I've been entrusted with a business.
Right.
And so when I was talking to you guys, even at challenging times through, finances or through whatever challenges we've hit, where I'm like, it's probably easier just to stop.
Yeah.
And you give it to the Lord. Now I say, Lord, I'm done. Like, this isn't my problem. It's not my monkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
not my monkey,
it's
not my circus.
So when he gives it back to you, you got to say, okay, well, I've got to trust you, because it's not, I think people look at something like this and think, well, you're so wildly successful because of it. No, the business is successful. That doesn't mean those who steward it are.
That's right.
My best paid people are not me. It's my people here, because part of my job in stewarding this is creating an environment where the people that work there, they make more money than me there, because for them, this is like their biggest thing in their season. This is one of 5 things I do.
Right.
And so I look at it as stewardship. So when it gets really, really, really difficult, you got to look at something like this during tough economy, tough situations, when things are adapting, and say, am I willing to do this when it's not making me money?
Right. Is the principle behind it worth sowing into?
Yeah. And so for us, I'm like, because of that, God provided other means of income for Sarah and I and the leaders to steward this and be paid well to do it, so that I didn't have to solve it on my own, yet he wanted it to exist. And so there's times when you get into doing things for the kingdom that it is costly. Yeah. And you may lose money to do it, but what you get in return is we've seen people come to Jesus in the last couple months there.
Absolutely.
And like, it's supposed to exist in our community because it's not supposed to exist for me. It's supposed to exist for everyone else.
That's right.
So it's something that I've been given stewardship over. And in some seasons it's been financially a blessing. In other seasons it's been financially not,
yeah, right.
you know? And the difference is not whether or not the business is good or bad or any of these things. It's, are you supposed to be running it? And if you are, do you trust that the Lord has signed his name on it?
Yeah. I know that in the food world, I've got good food world experience from my background. It's a challenge now. Regular blue plate places, they can make adjustments. They can change the blue plate a little bit. They can up the cost a little bit. They're doing bulk food. It's a little bit easier, but still it's tough to get stuff because it's not consistent. But then when you get to the better restaurants, like up on the hill in St. Louis, or Tom's closed here in the DeSoto, best restaurant in our area closed. And the reason they closed was he could not get, after COVID, he could not consistently get food product that was the same, because he wanted consistency to his high-end dollar, people eating. And then he got, on the hill, big restaurants closed because the top level Italian chef was not going to work with substandard products. So he said, I'd rather close.
Yep.
And then the food costs were so bad that he couldn't afford to make the margins they need to pay the staff the way they need. And their purpose was food, not atmosphere. Okay. Yep. So a lot of businesses took a beating during this. They're closed. And to be honest with you, we're starting to see a little more consistency in product come back. When I go to Restaurant Depot in St. Louis to pick up stuff, I was seeing more and more regular stuff. I went this year for the Christmas season. We're in the December season now. I know that you're probably viewing this another time in the year, but it was once again a ghost town. I hate to tell you, I thought we were through with this, but I went in there, and I know it's a busier catering time, but in the past they can handle it. They still can't handle it.
No, it's really tough. And I think, and I get the guys who've thrown in the towel on it, because you've got to keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah. And if you get into business because you needed to provide for your family and it stops, you need to stop.
And that's just 3-star Michelin food is if that's your main thing, you can't produce it right now because you can't get consistent meat.
It's better to shut down and protect what you started to do than to compromise it. And for me, because I got in this to be a place of encounter and serving and experience, we just had to continue to adapt and say our mission, yes, the quality is really important. The quality's in our principles. The profits, those things aren't here the way that they used to be. But for me, it's like, do I care enough about the community to do what we set out to do for the community?
I do think in the long run, I mean, costs will never go completely down. We're in a time of inflation and restricted economy from an economic standpoint. Yeah. But I mean, next year they're looking at maybe several interest rate drops. That's all artificial for the election, trust me. So it's not real. My background's econ finance before seminary. So this is being dropped because any election year, both sides want it to look better. They want to have a fake economy. And we know that we got so much debt in the nation here. Yeah. Things aren't really better. We're going to get a false sense for a year. It is going to help a little bit. It's going to drive costs down. Right. It's artificial. I do think down the road, depending on where our nation goes, we will see better costs. We'll see better things for real. But I think we're going to have a moment of oasis. But it is going to be a challenge. I do think we'll see better times ahead. But I do think we could see worse times. Your model's gone through some very rough times. I do think there'll be a time. So I think for those that push through, God will find a way to bless you or find other connections to help you push through.
Yeah. And so that's what I say is you don't get into our industry to make a ton of money selling coffee. Think about how many $5 cups you got to sell to make $1 million.
Right. A lot.
You don't. And so what it's afforded for me though, in both the ministry world and the other professional side is, what's unique is we see thousands of people a month. Right. We see people 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. What a business
and
like
a few people
does,
3 times a day. I know some of them that come in there.
And what it does is it affords you the ability to have relationship and influence. You can use those things.
And you got to add that value, but
that's tremendous.
But for your model, that's a value.
So there's a reason why most wealthy, business guys, their 4th or 5th business will be some version of a restaurant, bar, or cafe. They're not doing it to make money at that point. They're doing it to have the face-to-face interactions, because you could be an amazing carpenter and only have 10 customer interactions in a year. I have 10 customer interactions in 10 minutes. And so you've got to, speaking strictly from a business side, is you have to understand what each thing does. These guys have these things that don't make a ton of money like this, because I can get in front of, 50, 60,000 customers in a year. That's more than most industries will ever see. Wow. And what you can do with that, whether that's to invest in the community, speak life into people, create income through other businesses you have, doing sales, marketing, whatever that is, those are tools that can be leveraged. And so you have to look at it sometimes and understand why you have what you have and how that fits into the bigger picture of what you're doing.
That's amazing.
And that's why I'm not like franchising out, because I'm like, I don't need to have 20 of these that are tough. I'd rather just, and this is kind of the future of what we're doing, is I'm not looking to massively grow this. I'm looking for it to be a gift to our community, to keep it small and intentional. Why? Because then we can know people, love people, see people, and do that. And then with the other things we do, in our lives, this doesn't become a burden. It stays a blessing. And so I think everyone thinks success looks like how big can it get? How fast can you get there? Actually, success, I believe, and doing things excellent, like if you want to succeed, it's not about how big and how fast and how quick. It's can you do good things sustained over a long period of time consistently?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this cup of coffee. That's quality coffee, incredible food, specialty drinks, hot teas and cold teas and lemonades. Tell us about stuff on the table. You got some different things from the first show. You've got some of your product merch, but also some different drinks and stuff.
Yeah. So we bottle a ton of our stuff in house. And it's so that you can have cafe ready stuff at home, at the office, wherever. We do stuff with local businesses where we deliver jugs of coffee to them and whatnot. It's the same stuff we use in cafe. Yeah. It's awesome because, again, a part of it's about like hosting and letting people have something that they're proud of. So instead of throwing them in the Keurig at the office, say, hey, I'm going to bust out like literally cafe quality latte.
I've been at places, whether it be the Civic Center, or I've been at restaurants that are using your products, and
it's really cool.
They're tailoring it all. It's really cool in the area. I go, I know that guy. I think stuff's great. So you got some merchandise, different products, so they're always changing. So you can check that out. You got to shop online.
We're actually in the middle of completely update. Probably by the time this airs, it's going to be live again. But we're roasting beans to order online. We're roasting beans fresh every week. We're bottling stuff, merch. Yep.
Fantastic. Tell us what's next. What I don't know, not necessarily evolution, but what's kind of on the horizon. What's coming up in this next year for you? What do you see from your model?
Yeah, I think we've built a really new team in the last couple months. You go through waves, and to me, I look at my staff. They're a big part of my mission, and I want them to leave better than they come in. And we've had a lot of them that have had the opportunity to move on to the next school, career, married.
I've seen them have their kids.
They've done their
There's
stuff,
so many that
we've watched them grow up.
And they got
I know.
They come in, they're in college,
then
they meet somebody and they get married. Next thing you know, they got a little kid. You see them pregnant, then you see them all delivered, and you see.
So you want them to leave better than they come in. Yeah. And so I've had a really fresh staff over the last couple months and kind of been resetting who we are with this new group. And every time you get a new team, you kind of get a new thing to focus on. And so really in the next year, because I'm not, I've got a lot of other things I do besides this. As far as a business goes, I said, guys, our goals next year is to not change things. It's actually to be really consistent and do a great job of being reliable. The biggest thing I want to see is that because we stabilize a little more with a newer team, that we're in the community more. That we're back at some of those things and just like supporting, whether we make money or not in it, but being present and
being
loving
able to
people.
show up and maybe do some affordable events and things like that.
Exactly. And just being out there because because we've created so much value with like the excellence of what we've done. When you see the Crown Brew name at an event, it actually elevates the event as a whole.
Absolutely.
The quality of the vendors elevate the event. So when you have like high level vendors there, so being able to go places, even if it's break even or a small loss, but for the sake of saying, we love and support this as a business, we're here to endorse it. I think that's what we're going to try to do more of this
When
year.
you have the college kids from SIU driving all the way over to get a coffee over here, you've done something. You got everywhere you go, older people, younger people. I can tell them, how about Crown? Oh yeah, Crown Brew. You can be in West Frankfurt, and I got people I want to meet with for a ministry in West Frankfurt. I'll just say, you want to meet at Crown Brew? Yeah, I'll drive down.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to go. Or I go there all the time. So it's a good destination. What again is that mission and that vision, that ethos again? Lay that out one more time here.
Yeah, our mission is to be a gift to our community.
Absolutely.
The way that we do that is we serve people. We do it three ways. We serve amazing drinks and food. We serve our amazing community, and we serve our amazing team. And it's not just the drinks. It's not just the community. It's how we serve and love each other and our staff.
That is just fantastic. We want to encourage you highly to check out Crown Brew Coffee. There it is. One more time, 107 East Union Street in Marion. Go to crownbrewcoffee.com. Little trick for you. If you get there and the line's through the door, back out, go find a seat. order on the app and wait for your drink to come up.
Yeah.
Just chill.
That's a pro tip.
Or just wait in line and visit with people.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing, it's an experience. Go and relax. I walk in there all the times. I'm first in line. But what are your big traffic times?
Let me tell you a professional tip.
Yeah.
If it's a time that you think like, hey, let's meet at 10, never go on the hour. Never go on the half. The difference between a line at like 10:18 versus like a 10
is huge.
And then at 10:30, it's so shocking.
Never thought about that.
10:30 is
listen,
much better.
guys.
10:30 is much better.
No, so you say, hey, let's go get coffee. I'll meet you at 11:12.
Because you never
Don't
say
be
that.
early.
You
No.
never do
You
that.
say 11, 12, 1.
Yeah.
And so I can
2:30. I do a lot of mine at 1:30, 2:30.
listen. I've been doing this
After
for 7 years, and I can look at my staff on a Saturday and say, here's our burst times. And then when people come in at like a funny like 10:24, I'm like, man, if you'd have showed up 15 minutes ago, you'd have been waiting for
ever
until
Just not
now. Like,
we just cleared the queue.
yeah. And then I said, watch about 5 minutes. We're gonna line it up because all
people,
these
my 10 o'clock break, my 11 o'clock break, my 1.
these consumers, they're like, I gotta meet
Now,
at 1.
do you have an early morning crowd?
Yeah. Oh, we have waves.
Do you have a mid-afternoon, like a mid-morning break?
absolutely.
I'm like,
You
coffee,
can tell
10:30.
who's like, I need this to get through the day. You can tell who's like, I work the early shift. Like, it's so
Yeah,
programmed.
now we've already figured out Olive Garden's their shift change and
Oh, yeah.
when to go.
We
in
go at between
lunch and
about
dinner.
3:30.
Yeah.
You just, if you think you want it, you either need to go 20 minutes earlier or 20 minutes later.
I agree with that.
and that will cut out most of the fuss.
yeah, and then if worse comes
That's
to
a great pointer.
then
I like
you
that.
or use the Crown Brew Coffee app. If you get there in the line,
it.
you go like, don't walk away, just use the app.
Yeah.
It'll go faster than you think.
It'll go faster.
No, it's a good experience. Go check it out. You got the cooler unit there, so you can grab and go with some stuff as well, and all those things. Just a beautiful place, Josh. You guys done a great job.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you.
We're really, your mom's really proud of you. So she's really proud. I have so many stars on Josh's system. Every time I go there, I give them my number. They got a loyalty kind of program going on, and you give stars out or whatever.
Yeah.
And they say, you've got so many hundreds of stars. And I said, would you like to use some? I said, never. So I'm keeping my stars. I don't know what for, but I don't want to take anything.
It eventually converts into shares.
I like that. I like that. So no, I said, no, I'm just rooting for his success. And someday I'm going to go hang out when I'm old and he has to drive me around. And I'm my grandpa's age, who's 102 now. So so I want him to make all he can. So someday he'll give me a corner out back at some shed, but we're excited about what you're doing. Crown Brew Coffee is just amazing. Go check it out, and it's a blessing to Marion. It's a blessing to pastors and churches. We want you to go find it out. Kingdom businesses are really interesting. They don't have to be churchy to be kingdom businesses. I think that's what we're learning. I think the Crown says it all. It's a subtle hint that you've put this before the Lord and you're willing to lay it down, but it doesn't have to be all churchy and syrupy and religious-y.
Yeah, I agree.
But I have been able to do more in there in the name of Christ than you can shake a stick at.
Yep.
It's a very peaceful place. Josh, thank you so much for coming on here. And Mother Beth, thank you. And
great.
Colt, thank you so much. We want to encourage you to go check out Crown Brew Coffee. OnTheDock.org, we're glad to have you check out our website, info@OnTheDock.org. Email us for any questions you have. And go watch our shows. If you're on YouTube now, try Spotify or iTunes just to get the audio version. You can also go watch us video-wise on Rumble, and they've got a great one, Sermonette, and also Facebook. Also, Google Play is available for audio download as well. I like Google Play personally. It works better for me than Spotify. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter are our social media sites. Reach out. Send us your next picture from Crown Brew. We want to see what you're having. We'll add it to our next time. Maybe we can get him back here for our 68th. That would be the double show. Get him back in to find out what's that. So 184, so it'd be 360. 4 or something like that. We'll get him back in for that and find out what Crown Brew's doing in those days.
There you go.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Hit subscribe, like, notify, and we'd always love to have you be a Patreon partner or sponsor. And hashtag get Colt a camera and a mic again. He's got a camera today, but no mic right now. Be our partner or sponsor. Find out how to do that. Go to slnt.com. Promo code OTD. You can use that on the regular website and get all of our discounts and all of our shipping and all of our special deals. Or go to www.slnt.com/discount. /OTD, which stands for On the Dock. If you don't have a church home, we'd love to have you at Community Faith Church, 10 o'clock on Sundays, Wednesdays, 6:30. Go to coftv.com to find out more about us. You can go view us, check us out. If you're in Southern Illinois, we'd love to have you. And Josh also pastors a church called Kingdom Collective. 10 o'clock on Sundays, kc-church.com. Check that out as well in Marion. It's a great little church there. You'd love to be a part of that. Go try that out, but get in church someplace. On behalf of Mother Beth, my lovely co-hosts, and Colt, my tech, and our team here with Donna. We hope you will continue to watch for more releases for On the Dock. We have many more taking it to the street spotlights coming up, and don't miss our Building a Stronger Church series and many more things happening in this season here at On the Dock. Keep checking us out at onthedock.org, and we'll see you back real soon. I'm Pastor Troy. We'll see you soon. Take it easy and drop by Crown Brew and get a cup of coffee.